Typography presents negative/shadow. Some type fonts require a shadow to go around it. Sometimes that shadow is not equal on all sides, so it's a little thicker either on the left or the right. Looking at this one, it's a little thicker on the right, so we can add a little extra shadow onto one side of our letters. Of course, you can get clever with how your shadows go, and by bending the letters. It's a little bit more sophisticated, but you can use the side of your pencil to kind of give a shadow-like feel that kind of casts a shadow behind the letter. Not all shadows have to be black. You can use different colors if you want, so long as it's showing that the letter is casting a shadow, like the example above. For my friends in here who love shading, using that side of the pencil, you can make block letters and yes, get that gradation in there, that gray in there that makes it look like a letter's been folded over. Lots of clever ways to add that shadow. Any kind of letter can always get a shadow. I usually suggest a block letter, of course, to give it that little bit of thickness to it to show that the shadow is behind it. Yeah, shadow can be white. It's just an outline. It kind of shows you what could be behind it. So yes, we can replicate the letter with a white shadow behind it. Of course, there is a technique called negative. If you look closely, these letters are not complete, but yet we feel that they are. Only some of the lines are showing. A negative type font shows us the whole letter does not have to be there for it to be totally there. This is a little bit trickier, but you can figure it out. And of course, you can always use your computer as reference. A negative technique is a subtractive technique. Notice how the letters have been subtracted from these blocks. You could shade in your paper and use your eraser to write. That is a subtractive technique, making it, guess what? A negative technique. These letters here, borderline illegible, but they still are legible when put together. But look at how minimalistic they are. Look how very few lines there are to make the letter work. Can you make out all the letters here? Would you be able to write whatever you wanted with this? There are a lot of great ideas here. Some ideas that we want to take away and use, and some that we may want to stay away from. While our sketchbooks are just pencil only, look at all the color that we use here. Of course, you're allowed to use color if you wish, but look at all the different ideas we have. So when we're doing our final, maybe this is something that you may want to use when we reproduce our finals. It's a negative, but at the same time, it does have color. Yes, if you place an image inside of the object but don't complete it, like this one here, look how this is still considered a negative process. Each one has a bird, but that bird has been taken away from each letter. What's something that you could place inside each letter to take away and have a negative process? A famous movie poster with a shadow underneath it, not in black, but look at the superhero that it is. Yeah, I mean, a shadow is a very, very popular thing to use in movie posters. Even one of our favorite video game characters gets the treatment in multiple ways. Look at that. One in black and white and one in color. Start thinking about how you want to reproduce for your final, but at the same time in your sketchbook, how are you going to showcase a shadow or a negative technique? Look at these great negative techniques for up. The P has a balloon in it, very famous for that. And Batman, the M has literally Batman in it. In Apollo 13, a trip about going to the moon, it has the moon. So, oh, and don't forget Jaws, the A has a shark where the A would be. So now all of a sudden we have these different ideas of how to use negative if you so choose. Everyone should have a type font sketchbook grading rubric. We're going to look under the shadow/negative section. Once again, it is your job to come up with 48 characters. That's 48 letters. That's the whole alphabet twice, once uppercase, once lowercase, with either a shadow or a negative technique. Don't forget, in your sketchbook, you should also have an area where you're going to draw these out. And we should have an area of our sketchbook where we're going to be writing everything down. Remember, not everything has to be all the same way. Some could be negative, some could be shadow, some can be done different ways. Remember, sketchbooks are for generating ideas. What ideas are you thinking about for your final? All right, get to work.